So I think welcome everyone. Yeah, I think let's start now. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, Dheeraj ji and everyone and all the people who are present here, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. It's a pleasure to be here and participate in this 3-day TGRCC 2020. It's a virtual conference, the first of its kind that will benefit the business community at large. My name is Jagmeet Makkar, and I'm going to be the moderator of this session. A little bit about myself. With almost 40 years of diverse commercial and technical experience in shipping, today I offer services as a shipping expert, maritime arbitrator, learning and development partner, and a ship finance consultant. Dear friends, shipping is one of the most traditional industries that has its own inertia. Some of my friends here from shipping, they may not agree what I'm going to speak next, but I think that's the reality in my perception. It is generally perceived as a laggard where change is concerned as compared to other industries, even though shipping is a very traditional industry. So the disruptive changes such as digitalization have the potential to make sure that shipping benefits a lot from the efficiencies, and this will result in the economy and the trade to benefit. We must acknowledge that shipping is the backbone of globalization, and it's a derived demand resulting from the trade. We will discuss a number of concepts and issues with our eminent panel, which I am going to introduce to you right away. Mr. Puneet Ojha. Mr. Puneet Ojha has worked in commercial shipping for last 27 years, and he currently sits on the board of Clavenes Asia Private Limited as a non-executive director. And he's also the executive director of Singapore Chamber of Maritime Arbitration, SCMA. He has been closely involved with digital transformation journey of Clavenes Dry and is also a brand ambassador for MPA, which is Singapore's Maritime and Port Authority, their MDP, which is called the Maritime Digitalization Playbook, helping companies digitalize themselves. Welcome, Puneet.
Thank you.
Moving on to Captain Alok Srivastava. Alok is having a total of 20 plus years of commercial, operations, and post-fixture experience, along with sailing background, with many of us here have. A graduate in nautical science from T.S. Chanakya, year 1999, with extensive knowledge and work experience in shipping softwares like IMOS, Wison, and Softma. Alok has worked on BOTS, bots, Power BI projects, operation dashboards, and reports customizations. Welcome, Alok.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Priyabrat started his career as an agent, followed by heading Adani Iron Ore Desk, chartering for 7 years, before moving to coal in the year 2011. His geographical experience ranges from CIS, USA, Indonesia, Malaysia, Persian Gulf into India. These are the shipments. He has been heading the shipping division of SL Mining for almost 16 months now. Welcome, Mr. Priyabrat.
Thank you.
Captain Govind Gautam, a very well-known personality in shipping and maritime industry. Captain Gautam graduated in 1992 from T.S. Rajendra. He is an MBA from the prestigious University of Hong Kong, and he served as CEO of PWSL, Pacific World Shipping Limited. He established his own company with Fast Freight Private Limited to explore further challenging opportunities. Fast Freight has started on a very aggressive note to venture the market and has been able to capture sizable business in a short span of time with his team of tigers. I think they are more,
YouTube channel तो बंद कर दो
I think they are more like bubber shares, not tigers.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Captain Gautam. Captain Rahul Bhargav graduated from T.S. Rajendra from 1978 batch. His extensive commercial experience ranged from ship owner's desk, heading a broker's desk, and a charterer's desk. Making full use of his diverse background at SR Shipping, now he wears multiple hats of being a ship owner, a charterer, and a ship operator. Captain Rahul Bhargav is a regular speaker at international conferences and believes in imparting training to industry through NMIS as well as IRS.
Thank you.
Alejandro Gutierrez. Rahul, welcome to the panel. Alejandro Gutierrez. Alejandro is armed with, I hope it's Alejandro, not Alejandro.
Yeah, it's Alejandro, that's correct.
Alejandro, okay. Alejandro Gutierrez is armed with over 10 years commercial industry experience and consulting expertise in all facets of supply chain management, logistics management, change management, continuous improvement, and application of disruptive technologies such as blockchain and Internet of Things, etc. In a number of high-profile corporations across multiple locations and industries. Alejandro is also founder of Forward Together Network. Alejandro serves as a member of Meadow Singh's advisory board and Logistic A to Z. He currently lives in Ireland. That's where he's with us today. Look at what technology can do, you know. Oh my God. I'm talking to you from Hong Kong. He is in Ireland. One guy is from Singapore. His flight got delayed to the panel. And Logistics A to Z. He currently lives in Ireland and is in charge for shaping Console Freight's overall strategy and operational course. Last but not the least, welcome Alejandro to the panel.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Last but not the least, Captain Gautam Ramaswamy, a master mariner with rich experience in various facets of maritime industry and with an executive MBA from Columbia University. He is presently the Director Regulatory Affairs of the Hong Kong Ship Owners Association. Gautam is also maritime arbitrator. Captain Ramaswamy is a fellow and member of a number of professional institutes and has served on some of their committees. He was a member of Seafarers Advisory Board of the Government of Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, and at present he is the Secretary of the Ship Insurance and Liability Committee, SILC, of the Asian Ship Owners Association. Gautam is a millennial. You can see look at everybody and you can find out who is the millennial. Gautam is a millennial and is self-confessed worshipper of technology and a digital thinker, being vocal with his views on how technology must urgently intervene in the evolution of maritime industry by making drastic changes to its foundations. That makes him no stranger to controversy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the subject. And the first question is a general question. It's a tough one. And I would like everyone to speak in no specific order. Whosoever would like to join in, please join in. What are the technological advancements that could benefit the shipping industry? Yes, Captain Bhargav.
Yeah, hi, Jagmeet. As you started with it, that shipping is a laggard. I want to confirm that, yes, shipping is a late adapter of technology, 100% right. While the doctors were using the robotic arm to do the surgeries, we were happy to do our freight calculation at the back of the envelope. So we still live in that era. So, but yes, having said that, and shipping is not a direct business, it is a derived business. So if you're a derived business and it plays a central role in the global economy, then if the other industries are going tech savvy, the shipping cannot be left behind. And then of course, in last few years, we have seen a quantum jump in use of cloud-based technology, storage, e-commerce, and blockchain. So yes, there is going to be a lot of changes coming in future. Ships, as you know, carries the cargo from one place to another place, and it earns it money by something called the freight. So let me start here with the technology advancement in freight. Presently, there are a few platforms which are available, which selects the position of the ships, and the cargo owners can put out their cargoes on that platform. It makes very easy for a ship owner or a cargo owner to find a match for their cargo or for their ship. Now, the AIS technology is being used to map the vessels, and the cargoes are put in. This is saving a huge amount of manual labor that we were doing by looking into 800, 900 emails and wasting our time. So the technology has brought in a lot of time saving and manpower saving by doing this. Same thing has happened, machine learning has come into shipping. The original concept of plant maintenance system has now changed to preventive maintenance system. Uh, there are probes which are being inserted in the machinery spaces like your main engine and generators. These probes, by the technology, they record the data and analyze the data and gives it out to the users, the conditions of the machinery. So you can actually know what is happening within the machinery, and you don't have to overhaul a engine, or you don't have to overhaul your machinery at any given time. It's like when you own a car, they tell you, okay, every 5,000 kilometers you must do this, every 10,000 kilometers you do that. But here also, the makers of the engines, they tell you at every so many running hours you must overhaul it. So you open up and you spend money by uh, changing the spares. But this technology, which is preventive maintenance technology, can actually tell you when do you need to change or when you need to do something. Thereby, you're saving a lot of cost by not actually following the maker's manual, but actually knowing what is going inside. And the best thing is that you don't get any surprise breakdowns. So that's another great thing which has come in. Newer things which have come in is the drones. Now ships, goes for they have too many surveys, inspection. You have an annual survey, you have a 2.5 yearly survey, you have a 5 yearly surveys, and these inspectors they have to go to every indicant corner of the ship, which are enclosed spaces and difficult to reach. The drones have come up in a very nice way. These drones have a camera fitted, and the inspector can stand at a very convenient, safe place, and the drones can go up to the various parts of the ship, and they can actually see how the steel is, how the structure is, and they can assess and do the inspection. So that saves a lot of time for the inspector, and it's safety hazard also. It's a very big safety hazard. The worst thing that you see is in a VLCC is the big ships where we have to do the inspection internally. There you take the water and you ballast it, and it goes, and you have to take a raft and go to every corner. The pumping out water from a oil tanker, it's again is a issue. So these drones have come up in a best way, which helps in technology. Same thing is coming up in a smart ropes, a digital mooring system. You have the mooring ropes, which ties up the ship to the shore. They have a sensors fitted inside with a battery operated. And with these battery operations, you can get the sensors on your tablet, on your bridge in a control room. And from there, you know exactly how much tension is on each rope. This will this will increase the longevity of the rope, and also you will not get any surprise by breaking of any rope. You know how many accidents we have seen in the breaking of the rope. Likewise, there are other advantages which have come. Communication. Before we used to have wireless telegraphy, radio telephony. Communication was the biggest issue. Now we have the VSAT, which has come in. The VSAT, the crew members are in constant touch with the families, so there is no mental stress. We had the last incidents of Wakashio. Only if they had the VSAT on board, probably such a large grounding, breaking of a ship, oil pollution could have been avoided. So these are the so many things which technology has helped. And I'm sure today panelists will talk about blockchain, which will safeguard all of us from multiple frauds that take place. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rahul. Yes, Alok.
Can I take it, sir? Thanks, Captain Rahul, and thanks, Mr. Jagdeep. I'll just take it forward what Captain Rahul just said. See, what is technology? Technology actually provides automation. And yes, today we are even working on autonomous ships, and which, if achieved commercially, it will be nothing less than a giant leap to the mankind. So, as of today, the shipping industry is very much dependent upon the human element, and most of these tasks are repetitive in nature, and they simply follow certain flowcharts and pattern. If these can be mapped, a lot of benefits can be achieved. Technological advantages, which is going to help the industry. One is, as Captain Rahul just said, robotics. It helps us in vessel moorings also, and even in cargo operations. So even cargo operations can be faster and safe also. We have a very latest things which is coming up is acoustics. All the hull, the underwater hull, or even the pipelines, they get clogged with the scales or the underwater hull falling. There's a new technology is coming where acoustics sensors are placed, and they induce the sound into the hull, and they reduce the underwater falling. So these are being used. Various sensors are being used on the machineries, and with the introduction of these sensors, as Captain Rahul just said, there's no need for the crew member to go out and check all the equipments manually, and that helps us in a proper maintenance. These sensors, when clubbed with they as Captain Rahul again said, we get into a preventive maintenance. The ROVs, the number of stores we have to keep on board, everything is optimized to the best. One latest technology we have just seen is the use of lasers when we are planning some major design change in the engine rooms. So lasers technologies are used to make 3D designs of the engine room, and then all the designs are made, the vessel just comes into the dry dock. You don't have to really go and measure things. The pre-fitting fitted things can just come in, and the job is done much faster. And last but not the least on my list is the communication and connectivity. This ever-evolving communication is shrinking the entire globe. And coming to with the reference to shipping industry is that this fast data connectivity don't need to go on the ships. Engineer or the master, they go with a camera, they scan the whole place or the engine room or a damaged part. The class surveyor or the superintendent sitting ashore, he will just see and he will advise from there what has to be done. So you don't really need to fly a class surveyor to get approval on something prepared on board. But I must add one word of caution here. All these technologies come with a bit of security challenge also. So we need to be sure that whatever when we are exposing our vessels to internet, we need to be sure that there are certain fail-safe measures. So thanks very much. Thanks for the time. I would hand over to the next speaker now.
Thank you. Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to speak on this panel, Dheeraj and the Trade Reboot team. Good luck to all the events and all the efforts that you're putting in. Thanks again to Captain Rahul and Captain Alok to talk about these things. I will, of course, agree with all that they are saying, but I have got another viewpoint in this case, and that is I look at technological advancements in two respects. One is in terms of how can you service your customers better and how can technology help you do that? And the other is how can you actually do an internal transformation through technology? And there I would just like to highlight one small thing, and this is coming from Clavness's experience as well, that as we achieved standardization, we also realized the need for training. because a lot of people are actually happy in identifying problems, looking at solutions, but where they really falter is the implementation of that solution. Technology is the biggest advantage we have today. Let me give you an idea. Both Jagmeet and me sit with the Institute of Chartered Shipbroker committees in respective countries. We think that the mandatory training requirements in shipping industry are a big challenge because nobody really has any mandatory requirements to train in commercial shipping. How can we use technology to actually build training platforms which can actually make sure that we have standardized training ways to work with shipping industry and also make sure that the expertise remains current and updated? These are some small aspects which are obviously ancillary in some cases. They don't deal with the asset as much, they don't deal with the company as much, but they deal with the soft skills. So we should also look at technological benefits to shipping companies from the soft skill aspects, because I think that's going to be very, very crucial going forward. So that's the additional viewpoint that I wanted to bring to this discussion. I'll let Alexandro move on with it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Puneet.
Thank you, Puneet. Alejandro.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for the invitation. I think it's fantastic to be sharing the panel with such a respected. So thanks very much for that. Look, I see it from my point of view. Actually, in the technology side, what I see is that for me will be a combination actually of different technologies, right? And what I say this is it will be blockchain, IoT, AI, or machine learning, right? And the idea will be just blockchain as a base, right, as a foundation to enable other technologies to coexist in the same platform, right? Or sorry, in the same database. Because what happens right now in the industry, right, is that we have tons of different solutions that are silo, and to make them talk to each other is a bit difficult, right? So when we have actually that platform, that foundation that allows all the different technologies to talk, to share information, that will allow us to have a holistic view and take better decisions, well, I think that would change the industry perspective in so many ways, right? The other components that are really important is that the blockchain provides the trust actually and digitization on physical assets, right? And when I say these physical assets, that means there are, for example, bill of ladings, all the documentation that is required for the vessel to use the berthing or arrivals, invoices. So when you have that technology actually that will allow a seamless flow across the whole supply chain, right? Because as Captain Raul say, like shipping is an industry that is in the middle, right? That's the enclave, and you have an upstream and downstream of information that is really important for the whole supply chain. So when you have that flow secure, right, and you can just pass information in a faster way, you will have solving a big issue for all the parties that are involved actually in the chain. Right. Thank you.
All right, Captain Govind, I have another question for you, which is quite linked with this, because I think people have covered almost everything. So I want to make it a little bit more challenging for you. Okay, before that, let Captain Ramaswamy add a couple of new ideas there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Makkar. I mean, you're right. My fellow panelists have already summarized this so well that I see there is little scope to add anything further here. But I would like to reiterate the following, because the state of affairs of the industry that we are in right now, being in that we cannot repeat this enough. So my point would be about the difference or the distinction between the logistics side and the maritime side of the industry. So whilst shipping, as in the logistics side of the industry, seems to have kept pace with the advances in technology, not as much as we want, but definitely it is getting there. In comparison, with other industries, the maritime side, and with special reference, the aspects of shipboard operations and shore-based ship management operations, I would say without much exaggeration, if a seafarer from the post-World War II days, I mean, sometime in the 50s or so, who sailed in the 50s, if he were to be teleported to one of our modern container ships, I believe while he would marvel at certain technological advances like the ECDIS, it would not be something that he would not be able to, the difference in technology would not be something that he wouldn't be able to catch up with within a matter of a few months, if not weeks. So this says a lot. There is therefore a lot of scope on this side. For example, in ship management, as Captain Rahul already said, data analytics can be used for predictive maintenance. It can be used for fuel management. Blockchain can be used for the verification of documents, certificates, records, etc. Automation of various types can be used for tasks that are repetitive or are manual in nature or are paper-based. So while all this will add to efficiency and possibly a reduction in claims, we can also aim to improve safety. Now, we've got 4 master mariners, I believe, in this panel, and you would all definitely share my frustration when I give you this hypothetical situation that perhaps we've all been through, standing on the bridge, coming alongside in a tight container terminal. Our officers forward and aft give us distances which at times we cannot rely on fully. They're telling us 15 more meters to go, 20 meters, but you just wonder at times, is that even right? So if we were to just change that and give them range finders, like a golf range finder, you can get that for about $100 nowadays. Give it to the guy in the forward and in the aft. You got accurate distances right there. Now, while this, I would say, is what we in India call jugaad, a kit can be produced that includes the similar range finders and which talk to a display on the bridge, which the master can monitor from there. So this is adapting existing technology. So you're not reinventing the wheel, but you're just adapting existing technology to solve problems that we face on board our vessels. So I would love to talk about how IoT can further improve the way ships are operated. And indeed, it is an imperative that when we consider, that we have to consider when we're talking about autonomous vessels or even remote vessels, a step before going autonomous. So, but then here comes the elephant in the room. I'm not talking about myself. So, despite the overly regulated nature of this industry, every ship that comes out of every yard can and is usually different to an extent that we cannot sensibly and commercially viably use such technology. So unlike the aviation industry, where for most part it is either a Boeing or an Airbus, we have diversity where we don't want. So the industry needs to address this issue of standardization before, I mean, should we even wish to pretend that we care about digital transformation in this industry? So my apologies if I've exceeded my allowance of time. Thank you.
No, absolutely fantastic, Captain Ramaswamy. I think during the rest of the panel discussion, please feel free to add your opinions. Priyavratji.
Yeah, good evening all, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And this is a very initiative you guys have started, and best of luck for that. So now audiences are from, mostly they have talked about the ships, but I'll talk from the charter point of view because I'm the one who is hiring the ships. And mostly now over the past decade or so, things have improved for us. Okay, like we have net pass to calculate our what is the cost, our TC rates, but still there are a lot of areas where we can really improve. Because even today, like even if I want a vessel open positions, then I have to run or call up a broker, or I need some weather info, start calling up the agent to get the local IMD reports, weather forecast. It is not, as Alessandro pointed out, these are different things are working in different silos. They have to be interconnected. So there has to be one single platform. As me as a charter, today I want to see, suppose X vessel is leaving from Chittagong, which I think Captain Govind can very well relate. But whether she's really selling out, or we have to call up the local agents over there, then find out whether the pilot is on board, whether the pilot, what time the pilot is going on board, whether the port has really decided to sell this vessel out or berth the vessel. This real-time information is really missing. This is what we barely get, because unless and until we are on a constant call with our agents or something, we don't get that. So somewhere the industry has to give us that kind of a platform where, as me sitting at my desk tomorrow when my cargo comes in, so I am able to figure out, okay, who is the best operator or the owner or the best ship where I can place my orders with. Now today, what are the fixtures are happening? We don't know. Like, this is all reported. We don't know actually what the actual market is really moving in. Today I fixed at $9 from India to China. Tomorrow Rumta says that okay, they are fixed at 8.70. Now there's a fight. Now I go to Captain Gautam and say, okay, reduce the freight another 20 cents. Because I want to bet 8.5. But he said, no. He had fixed at 9.25. So this is like is a jumbled of mess out here. So, though of course, the technology has helped us, because that's the reason we are sitting here and talking to each other, like from our homes or offices or whatever across the world. And like back then, as Captain Rahul pointed out, we used to have the Excel sheet on the back of the paper to calculate our freights. And even today also, I do my late time on my Excel sheet. So I haven't changed in the past 20 years either. So I'm still using the same format, which I used to use in Adani. I'm still using it in Excel also, same Excel format. So this is the things. There are like a lot of scope, a huge scope, in fact, where digitalization of the shipping can really help us. Actually, it will bring more transparency. That's what I want. It has to be more transparent. That should not be by word of mouth. Okay, rumors, fixtures. Okay, fine. That owner is asking $10,000. That owner is asking $9,000. No, market is at $12,000. There's no real information. I think everybody over here is working on the ship side, so they know exactly what a charter really looks for. So I think uh, that is the most important area for me, and especially and most especially is that even today, like for example, Gopalpur Port, they have stopped sharing port positions. For God knows what reason they have. So now how I get my port positions? Now the agent calls up the local harbor master and he gives him the position. Then he jots down on Excel sheet and sends it to me. So every other week I have a ship at Gopalpur. So how do I monitor that port? So they have stopped, for God, I don't know, for some reason they have stopped sending port positions out since they are a private port. So that government ports, the websites are not that great. Some websites are okay, some are not okay. Now the traffic movements at Paradip port are given handwritten traffic notes. So by the time they're actually published on the website, it is already, the movements have already happened. So so we went for it. So now I'm just giving some examples because I'm mostly concentrating right now on the East Coast India to China route. Now China, the agents, they don't give us anything, even if they're appointed on our request. They don't give us any single real-time information of the ships. And okay, they are appointed by the receiver, so they don't give us any information, though they are appointed on my request by the owners. So this is the real, on a day-to-day basis, challenges which we face, which we are not aware of it. Like it actually costs us money. It costs us a lot of money, especially in demorages and especially with ports like Paradip, when they don't have a very fixed berthing pattern, a schedule, or rules basically, I will say. You don't know, like I end up sometimes paying 7 days demorages. It's huge cost to us as traders or as people who are, and you know, demorages are one of the biggest losses for us as a charterer. We don't want to pay demurrages, and I don't think so. Any ship owner wants to earn demurrage from us either. Everybody wants to a fast, quick round of everything. It's a cost to everybody at the end of the day. And so I think this is a basic areas I would like where like NetPass, of course, is one of the biggest things. I think I can say that because it not only gives weather, distances, bunker, your cost and calculations and everything, but it is not still 100% real time, especially when it's related to weather, because it depends. And I think that's about it. And thank you again for having me over
Thank
here.
you. Thank
And I can only present my ideas from the trade point of view because I have never sailed. I've been on hundreds of ships, but I've never sailed. So I can't go into the engine. I can't talk about the mooring ropes. I can't talk about the probes, or as Captain Gautam said, using the golf finder. I can't do that. So,
Yeah. Priyabratji, I think, ultimately any efficiencies that shipping gets from all the changes or disruptive changes we are talking about is basically for you. Ultimately, it has to
yeah.
flow to you, right? Since you mentioned about Captain Govind Gautam and your $8.50 per ton, so I must give him a chance to satisfy his client that what he is doing to make sure that you get $8.25 per ton. Captain Govind.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Jagmeet, and thank you, Trade Reboot, to give me this platform as to at least to present my views and thoughts. And today I've come with Mr. Dheeraj Khandelwal. I really love these ideas and this technology. And Mr. Pribrat, you have touched actually a real chord actually. Why we are here today. You are the essence for us because ships are made as to carry, as Mr. Captain Rahul Bhargav said, that shipping is nothing but a derived demand. And the same way, digitalization today, if you talk about the technology, is also an enabler actually. It's also a kind of a derived demand. In technology in itself has got no markets, I mean, as such. They are supplementing the different industries, ranging from production to the consumer, whatever the sectors you can say. So when two derived demands meets, then I think it creates a real business. And we are here to talk about the digitalization and the shipping, both combined together. As I see the view of the panel, I think I have been always in shipping actually since the day we have been coming. The role of the shipping is what? To contribute to the end customer to reach that how much the value he is paying, how much is the cost it contributes toward the logistic cost, which is not only the shipping, the commodities like raw material from A to B, but also further going down to the all kind of logistics. I mean, packaging, moving on the roads, and ultimately reaching to the end customers. And this is the technology where we have to see that how it can help actually. So ships are made because on the shipping, we have the two segments actually to look at it. The one is from the ship owner's perspective. What we have touched upon to the most of the time is actually, and I can see through that in shipping, the ship owners have been always struggling to manage the cost. At least, especially last 10 years, we have been seeing is that after financial tsunami, that owners are really difficult to manage their overhead costs and they have to pay the banks cost. So it is a quest. It's no more become like a want or luxury anything. It's a need actually. That how can I efficient my process? I can save that X dollar actually. So everything has to be valued. So whether we are using on the main engine as to avoid the breakdown of the maintenance, like so when we have started our sailing, I was saying my position on the satellite navigation and the latest. By the time I quit my sailing career in 2004, what I could see that even I did not use the ECDIS. I had only the GPS, as so far I can say, and then I had some better technical managers who had used the board on board where you can say sign on, sign off kind of things, which was very much linked with the office. But I think today we have the technology where we are monitoring the ship. One of my very close friends is a company. They are running a concept called Ship Watch. I mean, where the ships are being monitored by the owners, by the cameras on board, video system, live recording. And they are not only doing that, there has been artificial intelligence regarding the crew. Right? What kind of master is there? What kind of chief engineer is there? What kind of watchkeepers are there? At what time they are keeping? And if slight of errors they find, or they see there's a not a proper thing, then immediately the managers are being informed, and within 15-20 minutes the message is going on board and the repetition action. So this, we have come to that level. Like say Vocasio case has happened, basically somewhere down the line we're not able to monitor. Whatever we do in terms of technology, owner develop it, the technical managers are there. It is not good to the extent if it is not been executed. So I believe the ship owners, by all means, they are very much organized, and in whatever their capacity, they are definitely doing their best to improve the technology, to optimize the cost on board, to make the officers better, and to save their X dollar, because OPEX are there. Today, vessels are running at 4,000 to 5,000, depending on the build, the engines, and the kind of crew they're managing it. But this is the cost per day. The question is that how can I bring my $4,000 to $5,000 cost to $3,000 or $3,500, or I can avoid my machinery maintenance. So there is a lot of technology happening, as Captain Rahul Bhargav said that now drones have come up, and not only the cost, it's also the human element is engaged into it. And the biggest risk, as Alok touched also, that a human resource. So how do we control the human resource? How do we train? Even Mr. Puneet say that standardization. How do we know that the ship crew is going on board? He has equal level of knowledge, and he will go and immediately, will get the technology and immediately he start. There is no time delay, lag for us. That master comes in take 10 days. By the time 10 days, there will be major disaster can happen on the ship. So there is a lot of pressure on that. So this is from the owner's perspective. Now I'm touching that the vessels were made for the trade. At the end of the day, as I said, the trade has to go through, it has to make the commercial proportion to move that. If the ship owner does everything and if his cost is too high, it will not make sense, and he will become unviable actually. All the solutions will fail actually. So what we have been seeing, that as Mr. Priyabrat touched upon to it, that there has been a big disconnect between the shipping and the trading and also the end customers. End customer, definitely it comes at a very high, different levels, later on levels. But the traders and the shipping and the banking and finances actually. So for the trader, he's looking at it also to get his secured margin, certain things. Like say he wants to make $1, maybe 50 cents is the BL cost, LC cost. Then he has a challenge of getting his LC limits. Then same way the operator has that how to get a working capital. So what I feel that is we as the owner have done already quite a good bit of it, and there is a standardization of technology, training of the crew. But what is the quest here is now that to owner and operator has to move, start realizing the pain of a trader, and the trader also to start thinking that how can he make his extra cents saved so that his trade can become more viable. And that is where the merging point for the two is needed. And when I see this trade reboot technology platform and the blockchain, that is, we need to bring in a standard platform, at least where we can plug in all things, whatever we need. As an owner, suppose if I'm an operator or if I'm a head owner, I can plug into the technology because there is a trader, there is a banker, there is my insurance company who can insure my trade at one extent, maybe my end buyer he defaults, but I got an insurance company, so my trade is secured. I am as an operator, I've taken a trade. I can go also get a insurance, or my PNI club is there, or I can get, because I got a contract. If my trader position is secure, then my position is secure. If my position is secure, then my bunker supplier position is secured. So this is what I feel that what we are going to see, that how can we in shipping in itself is in a very silo, it's neglected actually. So we as the ship owners and operators, everybody has to think as to how do we collaborate with the trader.
Captain Govind, the thing is, we talk about technology, we talk about so many things. Shipping has always been a relationship business. So I would like to ask Puneet. Puneet, do you think because of technology, that relationship, way of doing deals and all that, sitting across the table, having a a glass of wine or a beer, and then sorting out all your problems, and sorting out the contractual terms, and afterwards have a big hug. Okay, deal is done. Do you think that will get affected, or there'll be some hybrid sort of thing?
Yep, this is a very interesting question, and I can give you the lawyer's answer, yes and no. That's a standard way of doing it. It all depends. But in reality, I think the key realization is that the harnessing of the data requires the players to change the way they exchange data, and also what data they exchange. Because a lot of useless information flows around today, which will actually be more or less non-existent in technological advancement come through. This will mean the conversations we have to move away from gut feel to data-driven decision making. Does that mean the relationships are not important? Not at all. Super important. However, we will be able to probably use the skill sets of the people towards pushing the technology, towards making decisions, and then executing them through relationships. So the whole idea of relationships is using to extract value with completely different data and methods. So at Clavness, for example, we see the role of chartering personnel to eventually change, and already changing, to a freight and data scientist concept. Whether we like it or not, sooner or later, data is going to be available to everybody. Look at AI as data. It's available today to everybody, and whoever wants to get hold of it can get hold of it. So the only differentiation is going to be how we analyze that same data, which everybody has access to. And then obviously the soft skill, including relationship, will kick in to secure and execute the deal. One of the key aspects, and that's something that Priyabrat mentioned as well, that technology will bring in a lot more transparency. So any business model, when you talk about how to achieve a hybrid model, any business model which depends on opaqueness or translucency will simply die out eventually. So an example would be an ability for an owner to give false position, false ETA notices to the parties. If you have the right AIS data, you have the right way to track your ship, this will simply not happen anymore. So you will literally be looking at a situation where your vessel arriving on a port is literally like a Grab taxi or a Uber arriving in your doorstep and giving you an update as to what's actually the status. I think that's where technology is going forward. There is so much of benefits that technology can give for decision making, which otherwise would have spent hours and hours doing it. So people can actually look at data-driven decision making and then spend time in building relationships to execute that deal. Because execution is still going to be a people's business at the end of the day. The actual signing of the charter party or signing of the freight is only the starting of a relationship. It's only the beginning. The whole contract needs to be executed. And there are always going to be pitfalls. There are always going to be ups and downs. There are going to be differences and disputes. You need relationships to remain in place. But the initial discussion about how a deal needs to be struck, is this the right price, the price discovery, the market mechanism, a lot of that will be data driven. And obviously in Clavness, we have seen that in reality. I'll just finish with one small point. What Captain Govind was saying was very correct. But if I generalize this, and I've looked at this from a bigger point of view, that any technology solution that we look at as a ship owner or a ship operator or a shipping company has to stand on 3 pillars. The first pillar is transparency. It needs to bring greater transparency to whatever systems are today around. Second is sustainability. It needs to be something which can scale, which can be sustainable, which is beyond people, so that eventually when people move around, the systems stay in place. And finally, profitability. You need to be having some bottom line understanding of what the system adds to the bottom line of a company. If you can bring these 3 elements of transparency, sustainability, and profitability, you will have the right solution going forward from technology. If you do not look at these 3 factors, you will develop solutions which are either too expensive, not solving a pain point, and eventually not able to sustain themselves as people change. That will not help the company in future. So that has to be in mind.
Thank you, Puneet. Absolutely fantastic. Priyabratji, anything to what Puneet has said? Basically, what he is looking at is the sustainability. I think I picked that as the most important point. Then, of course, the other 2 legs of that table they are equally important, but I think sustainability is extremely important. So what comments do you have on this one?
See, it's as simple as that. If I don't survive, he won't survive. If they don't survive, I won't survive. Both of us has to be a win-win situation at any given time. As a charterer, I cannot keep on paying high freights. As a operator or a ship owner, they cannot keep us giving us at $2,000 a day vessels. It has to be always like today, like a $9 freight. I think is a more or less okay numbers. Now, as a charter, it has become from $5 to $9. Like 3 months back, it was $5 to China. From say in June, it was from India to China was 5.8. I had taken Captain Govind's vessel only at 5.60. I have to be very honest. From him only I taken, and today he's giving me $11. I think that's now it is the way how charters look at it. Most of the charters today are like, unfortunately, I have to say this, are fly-by-night operators. Today they have cargoes, they suddenly become charters. They don't understand the shipping at all. For them, it is just like a number crunching game. Like, okay, I need, okay, here's the $9, I'll do at 8.7, 8.65, something like that. But unless and until we need to educate, as Puneet when he first talked about educating people, which is too much. I think it's not there actually in shipping. Whatever we have learned is on the job. There's no formal training. And of course, now they have an MBA program in India, which I came to know when I came back into active chartering after 10 years. So they wanted me to be an MBA grad, which I was not. And so I was surprised that in India they have a MBA college where they are imparting MBA in shipping. But this is limited. I don't think so. Like somebody had told me, one of my bosses in Adani had told me that for 3,000 years shipping has been there, and for next 3,000 years shipping is going to be there. This is going to be the cheapest mode of transport ever. See, like I move a 1 ton of cargo from my mines to port at 1,800 rupees today. So to Gopalpur port is 2,000 rupees. From Gopalpur port to China, I move at 800 rupees.
Absolutely right, sir. Shipping is, of course, traditional, and shipping is.
Unfortunately, though by leaps and bounds, a lot of information, like as Puneet said, a lot of useless information goes on. See, now I do East Coast India, China. Now, if Clavners keeps on sending their West Coast PG positions to me, what I'm supposed to do? I'm just going to delete it. Now, if they send me, I do only Supramaxes and Ultramaxes. If they send me Handies, Cape Size, VLCC position, what I'm supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
It's like just having 20 odd emails on my mailbox, which is absolutely useless for me.
Yeah, thank you, Priyabratji. Alejandro, now just something very important. Does this technology have to be expensive? Yes, we need technology. Yes, we need to shake the shipping industry's inertia away and push that huge ball or the elephant. We need to get it moving.
Yeah.
Does it have to be expensive, or is it something which can be managed reasonably well?
Yeah, I don't think it has to be expensive. Well, we define expensive as over cost that will come as a consequence of poor designing a project or over scoping, right? I don't think so. I don't think it should be expensive. And I think the big problem that we have is that normally the companies will not scope digitization projects correctly, and these end up on over scoping the solution. So as I say, like you are basically trying to kill a fly with a cannonball, right? So trying to design a massive project for something that actually was not required. A lot of companies actually ended up implementing, as I say, like a really complex solutions. But the really important component is actually to understand what is the requirement and the need that the company has, right? And take a holistic view on this. Why? Because sometimes technology actually is not going to be the solution. Sometimes actually the problem is on the people that you have. Maybe you need to just provide more training, right? Or maybe the processes are not there yet. So when you are just embarking right in this type of digitization projects, it's always important just to see that the company is ready for it, right? For me, actually, digitization or technology is just kind of the cherry on top of the cake that you put when you are ready for it, and not the other way around. You need to have a process. You need to actually go in this journey, right? It's important as well to just manage the expectations, because technology is not going to solve every single problem that you have in a company, right? It's going to just actually just fix different components, and that's the reason why it's always important to know that is a journey that requires a clear path of implementation, because implementation usually is where all these projects fail, and have that clarity for everybody involved in the project to know what is the role in the project, what is the responsibility, and how they're going to make all together as a team that journey successful, right? Because if not, if you don't have the buy-in from your own people, it's impossible just to have this sort of projects successfully implemented.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think, Puneet, we must take full advantage of you since you are here. So, how did you manage this in Cleverness? I mean, what was the process or the pain points, and how did you reach where you did ultimately?
I think I feel very privileged that I actually got involved in this process right from the beginning when we kickstarted the internal transformation. And we did not break the bank doing it. It was very clear from the beginning that we had to look at our own resources. So digitalization, from the beginning, we had our CEO Lasse tell me that it's not about spending huge amounts of money to create customized solutions and replacing current system. It's all about taking a step-by-step approach. As Alejandro mentioned, the first step, identify problems internally. What are the problems you're trying to solve? Develop solutions. And final stage where a lot of people fail, like he mentioned, ensure implementation. It's about a change of mindset more than a change of systems. So in fact, what we learned in Cleverness is when we looked into the systems we had, they were underutilized and they were not matched to the activities and the processes which they were supposed to be performing. So there were quite a few of the systems which are already there, but nobody was using them the right way. So we simply got them to talk to each other, extracted relevant data to create an output solution with multiple inputs from present systems. And we looked at off-the-shelf products, which are much easier to and cheaper to get hold of and build rather than a customized one. And finally, we got everybody trained and involved within the company to change the mindset and remove insecurity. Very important to remove insecurity among people that this is going to take away their job. This is going to change their job, but it's not going to take away the job. And I would just like to identify quickly some of the steps that we actually had. So first step is mapping the current processes. Second is standardization of processes and data sources, very important. Third is optimizing the process based on feedback and use. Fourth is auditing the use and the value of the current systems. Fifth is identifying and implementing new systems with clear aims of collaboration and automation wherever possible. Step 6, increase awareness and knowledge, super important. Step 7 is facilitate training on a standardized basis and maybe customized basis depending on processes. And finally, identify resources outside and within the company to refresh and enhance knowledge based on organization. These 8-step processes were very clear in our mind that we wanted to make sure that when we start with the problem identification, we know what we already have. I don't want to name systems, but there were a lot of systems which are like old electronic equipment in your house. The instruction manual is lost because probably they came before you were you actually started using them. So a lot of these things needed to be revamped, relooked at. I would just like to mention a little bit about Singapore's story as well here, that I'm involved with the MPA and SSA, as I mentioned, as a Maritime Digitalization Playbook Ambassador. And this is quite interesting that they have, with the BCG, collaborated to look at Maritime Digitalization Playbook for all companies to digitalize themselves. So please look at the MPA website and look at it, how important it is and how structured it can made. You can tailor make it to according to your own industry or your own company, but it's important that you go step by step and don't break the bank. Please just don't go ahead and order systems that you don't really understand what purpose will they serve. Go back and look inside to eventually go back and look outside to get the system that you want, or at least try systems to talk to each other. So it's been a fascinating journey, still continues. In fact, recently, Calamnus has signed one of the bot contracts with the company just last week, and that's going to talk to each of the systems and bring out the output depending on what is needed by the users. Brilliant idea. Please don't break the bank. That's my advice to you. Be very, very specific about that. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm going to ask something to Alok and Captain
Ju-
Ramaswamy. You see, okay, yes,
Jagmeet,
yes, yes,
just to add to what Puneet
sure,
said.
sure.
Now, I'm just sharing my experience. In the past 6 months, we are all stuck at home. And Aditya Birla Group, as you know, is one of the biggest conglomerates of the world. And we get a lot of this HR material that what we should study at home and to develop ourselves at home. And we are involved into shipping in a very big way. We have Gulf Singapore, Hindalco, Grasim, Ultratech, SL Mining, and a lot of other organizations. There has not been a single session about shipping. So before we can implement this thing, the companies or the boards or the bigger people up higher up, they are the ones who are supposed to be educated that the team down there, they need this kind of support systems. It becomes very, very difficult to explain to the bosses why this is happening. It takes me sometimes 45 to 1 hour to explain to my unit heads why I'm paying this demurrage and why it is not a force majeure situation.
Yeah, shipping is always considered as a majburi. You know, like traders are doing their
Exactly.
work. Traders are doing their work, and
They don't want to.
shipping is something that,
They,
oh my God, we have to do it. We have to get the cargo here,
but that is
and that's the
without that
cost.
without that we are like just nothing after that. What will I do with all the iron ore from my mines? It will lie over there if there's no shipping.
Yeah. You know, one of the programs I had, Priyabratji, I had conducted, and in that I invited for 15 minutes one of the very senior person, just retired from a large this large steel making company. 18%, 18% of the total cost is shipping and freight of the entire delivered cost at the doorstep, which is huge. I mean, this has to definitely brought down. That is why.
Especially it is about, I don't know, people don't take it seriously. They talk about logistics, they talk about shipping, but I don't see it is really means I'm not seeing on the ground at all. Means, very honestly, I thought like a group like Aditya Birla, they should give lot of emphasis on shipping. Zero.
So
I
I
might have
think,
gotten a million mails from
yeah,
my HR to study this topic, that topic, this and that. But end of the day, nothing was related to my work.
yeah. Let this be the starting point. This panel, you know, let this
Yeah,
be the
sure.
starting
Why not?
point,
Yeah.
and
We
we
have
will
to
all.
start from somewhere.
We are going to make, with permission from Dheeraj ji, we are going to make this our driving committee to bring about that awareness and change. Now, a very
If you
quick,
can give these big business houses in India who are
yeah,
actively into shipping, to get them involved at a very means at a very grassroots level, so
right,
that will then follow through their system like Adani. Adani does what, 80 million tons of
almost,
their volumes,
yeah,
almost 80 million tons. You have got Aditya Birla, Tatas, and Vedantas. You bring them on the table and make them understand that shipping is the most important factor. I think Captain Rahul can do it also. He can get them together.
One thing that I have
And
noticed, Priyabratji, that you are doing 30 million tons, 40 million tons. You look at the shipping department, there are three people.
I'm on one. I'm a
You're
one-man
one
army.
person. So
I'm a one-man army.
that itself shows how much importance we are giving to the this aspect. You know. Okay.
Nothing.
Now, very quickly, sir, the you know what I want to say. Everybody is talking that the data is so very important. Data converting into knowledge, knowledge to wisdom. You know, and its objectivity is totally unparalleled. Does everyone, different companies, have to reinvent the wheel? Do these companies have to do things on their own? Or is there any possibility of people sharing what they have learned, people sharing the data which is there, and move in a very focused way, like a triangle moving up to the apex? What do you think, Alokji, and I would like also Captain Rahul and Alejandro to give your opinion on this one.
Thanks, Captain Jaideep. Jagmeet,
You cannot hear you.
hello, it's Jagmeet. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You're mute, Jagmeet.
You know, we can all hear you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Please.
sir. Thank you. So I think for last 30 minutes, and it's not that we have reinvented the wheel here. We know that data is actually the new gold. And definitely, if we share this data across among ourselves, and not only the data, the result, the analysis of the data, then it becomes, and then we do the same job again, we'll be much more efficient. We don't same mistake again, which my friend has already made. So definitely, the data and the sharing of data, moreover, the analysis of the data, if that is shared, it will help everybody, be it owner, be it a trader. And when we have to pursue somebody to do it, unfortunately, it's a very cruel world. It's a very mean world, with all due respect. But unless we tell them that this process or anything, if it is going to save cost and if it is going to reduce the risk, nobody's going to accept. So let's try to put this data sharing, analysis, everything from this concept that this is going to save money and this is going to make this process less risky. So I will give few examples. One is which are presently sort of used also. One is virtual NOR. I have seen this about 7-8 years back. This Australian miners, the vessel sails from Japan, it's coming to Australia for loading. What they will do, instead of going at full speed, they will slow down the vessel, but the NOR of the vessel for the purpose of the lineup will be accepted basis the full speed. The advantage is there have been a lot of congestions in Australian port. So instead of running the vessel full speed, burning too much of bunkers, which is definitely cost, and in today's world, which may not be relevant 10 or 15 years back, in today's world, carbon footprint is a very, very big way. Means I'm even hearing the banks are not ready to lend money to ship owners who are running coal vessels. To be honest, means coming from a shipping owner's background, I can tell you, the banks are reluctant to give money. They're saying you must go get into clean energy. So that's the one thing, virtual NOR. And definitely electronic bill of lading, which is coming in a big way. It's already being used. There are many companies which are using it. It helps a lot. It reduces the process. As a owner, it gives me confidence in the system. As a trader, it helps him to negotiate the LC faster. As a bank, everybody is happy. Now let's try to sell something new. I mean, everybody is concerned about demurrage here. Can we have a system like a efficient stockpile management, where I know how much cargo I have to ship or how much cargo I need, how much cargo my plant needs? That is clubbed with the market orders. It's not that everybody sends out cargo orders into the market. Sometimes we see, and with all due regards to the cargo traders, Priya Bharat is here. For one cargo, let's say a shipper has to ship out one cargo from RBCT, you will suddenly see 5 traders circulating the same cargo in the market. It's only one cargo. So maybe that can be done, efficient stockpile management. Then you send out some sort of a concentrated query in the market. Captain Jagmeet, Mr. Jagmeet, you are muted.
Yeah, Alok, it happens all the time. If you got 10 ships to be chartered, the ship owners will just put one ship in the market, and based on that, slowly, when it is cargo, it becomes, it's always like that. Okay,
Yes.
now we are actually running out of time. I wish we had more time. Next time we have to ask Dheeraj ji to give us a little bit more time. So I have one very simple thing. Captain Ramaswamy, you have been very, very quiet all this while. The same question, you have 1 minute, and after that, we will say thanks to everyone. You're muted. Yeah.
My apologies, Mr. Makar. It is the same question, right? About the power of data and.
It's the same question. Okay, let me ask you very straightforward question is, we have been discussing in international chambers of shipping, we have been discussing in so many different fora that the company should exchange the data, people should share the data. So what do you think from Hong Kong Ship Owner Association or the other associations you work with? Their membership, are they willing to do that?
Well, if the data can be mined and monetized, I don't see why someone shouldn't use it. But sharing it between us could be complicated, because after all, it is information, it is valuable information, and one may need to see what that information costs, on how useful it is. So this could be a point of contention between parties who might want to share data. Then again, we've got privacy-related issues, especially if it involves individuals, like if you're talking about people. So that could be, if it is about assets, that is different, yes. So I was recently at a conference of, not recently, last year, at a conference of international governments, their weather service providers, and they were all sitting on gold mines of data. They all had data of ships that were reporting to their individual weather operating services, so sending out weather reports. I had suggested to them, why don't you think about coming together and monetizing this data? And they told me that they were not even aware that this could be done and this is of any use. They asked me who would use this. I said, that is something you may need to think about. But I can just tell you off the top of my head that a company like StormGeo, or someone who wants to provide weather reports, they would be happy to get this data from you. So this shows the lack of awareness within the industry, the lack of appreciation within the industry for sharing data. So yes, if you're able to surmount all these, I believe it's only logical that data should be shared, or at least monetized within the industry.
The wishful thinking, you're saying that it gets a bit difficult.
No, we will get there eventually.
Eventually we'll get there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I like that optimism. Captain Govind Gautam? Okay, that's the last 1 minute. After that, we will have to call it close. My apologies, cannot have the 1 minute to everyone towards the end, because a lot of pressure coming, because next session is going to start. So 1 minute with you, and then we'll close.
Right. Jagmeet, I will take your point that the relationship-based business, as I said, the relationship has to be at the core. Business is today nothing but the outcome of relationship. But relationship puts a pressure, onus on me as to become a competitive. And what we are talking in digitalization is nothing but as a tool that how I can become competitive, whether as an operator, whether as an owner, how he can be competitive so that he can reduce his cost and process and can add a value to it, actually, So this is, and you were talking about the golden triangle which can move up. Actually, I can say that the technology, what we are talking at the platform, Trade Review, is that golden triangle which is going to move up. And literally, I can see the future. And the gap, what Mr. Priyabrat, you mentioned about that as a trader, as I see that there is a big disconnect. So a ship is nothing but as a commodity which has to find a trade to come to the other side of, to make it sense, to make its existence to have, otherwise it will not make sense. So ship, in order to become an entity, it has to find a trade. And that is where you all come to it. And we have seen the markets. You are talking about $11. I have seen the market when the freight was $5. And I have gone to the industry. I've been asking 5-year contract to me, where I could have given the $5, not maybe $6 freight. Within the 6 months, the market was paying $12, So it's a $5 per metric ton. If the industry is doing 25 million tons of cargoes, you can imagine that how much kind of the value we can create out of it. So there has to be a shift of mindset. But first of all, I think we need to think of digitalized way. And I really thanks to Mr. Dheeraj and his team to come up with such a beautiful concept of trade reboot. And I believe that you all will like, as you will find more people into it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone. Alejandro, I'm going to speak 2 sentences in Hindi. आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आप सबने मिलकर इस सेशन को, उसकी हिंदी नहीं आती है मुझे, इस सेशन को आपने बहुत ही अच्छा किया और इसी के साथ ही सबका बहुत 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 धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you so much.
And happy puja to everyone. Happy puja to everyone.
And happy puja.
Thank you. You really added a spice to the session, which we were looking at this from the commercial side.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.